Calibrating cybernetics.
Talk to him now.
AT, Andre.
Come on, Dre.
Yep. Tripping with Let's Go. Woo! Tripping with Theo Bold.
What's your name?
Theo So Bold.
Yeah.
Driggity. Let's go. Tripping with Theo Bold. Tripping.
What are we doing?
Tripping with Theo Bold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? And welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theo Bold. I'm your host, Andre Theo Bold. Welcome to the show. Glad you guys could tune in. We're going to go ahead and hop right on into today's topic. Is the NBA done? Is it done? Now, I know a lot of you Gen Zers think it's probably not, but we're gonna get into today's topic, man. So let me just start off by saying this, man. From what I heard and what I saw, last NBA or this past weekend's NBA All-Star weekend was sad. It was sad, man. You know, that's not the NBA, I know. It's not. You know, I want to take y'all back down memory lane a little bit, man. You know, so let me first start off by saying this, okay? The 90s NBA was way more competitive. Late 80s, early 90s NBA was more competitive. The current NBA is more skilled, more talented, more gifted, but it's not anywhere as near as competitive as it was back in the 80s and 90s. I'm sorry, it's just not. And you saw from the display in NBA All-Star Weekend this past weekend. So, man, back in the day, man, back when I was growing up, man, like NBA was ahead of NFL with me, you know, because it was just kind of always, kind of in your face, but it was something to look forward to, you know. Like I remember just NBA All-Star Weekend was it meant something back then, you know. Like, you know, you had the stay in school jam on Saturdays, you know. Like it was like a kind of a serious portion, but they wanted to make school cool, so I could respect that. You had the whole reading is fundamental initiative. And then you had, of course you had a 3-point contest, dunk contest. Then you had the All-Star game, real simple format. That's all you needed, you know? But, when I was growing up, man, with the NBA, man, it was Ahmad Rashad inside stuff on Saturday mornings, man, after the cartoons, you know? I remember my mom used to, on Fridays after school, like during basketball season, we would go to Pace. You know, for those that don't know what Pace is, Pace was like a brand. Pace was kind of like a Costco's, or it was Sam's Club before Sam's Club, essentially, you know, but Sam's bought out Pace in our area. And then we go to Pace and my mom would go through and do all the food shopping for the week. She picked me up from school. The sunset would be coming down, nice sunset, you know what I'm saying? And then she'd get a big box of, you know, basketball cards, man. It'd be either be Upper Deck or I don't think Pinnacle made basketball cards. It was Upper Deck, and I forgot the other one. It was like two major card companies back then. Upper Deck, I mean for basketball, right? It was Upper Deck. What was the other company? Okay. We would go there. My mom would buy like a complete set of basketball cards or buy a box of basketball cards. And then I would come in after putting away all the groceries and stuff. I would cut on basketball on Friday night, you know, and Ernie Johnson was by himself. You know what I'm saying? Covering, he wasn't covering the game, but it was kind of like inside the NBA or whatever, but it was just a show with him on it by himself. And I would line up my basketball cards, because on the back of the cards they had numbers. So I would line them all up, figure out what cards I was missing, figure out what cards had doubles, and then the next morning after cartoons and after NBA inside stuff with Ahmad Rashad, man, we drive down to the flea market and we take our doubles, and then we go through with our little with the basketball card book and the prices, and we look through to try to hustle cards to complete a set. So I have a whole bunch of completed sets of NBA basketball cards. But that was like what the NBA was to me back then. Then of course I would go outside and hoop and pretend I was Mike, real simple, man. Real fun days, man. you know. But it's not the NBA anymore. It's not, you know. Now the NBA had like its moments, I feel like, like especially during the Kobe era, and you have some games that are like dope and some little series that are dope, but it's like as a whole, the NBA, I'll put it to you like this: if they keep doing what they doing, they ain't gonna be around in 10 years. You can mark my words on that. They will not be, if they keep doing what they doing in 10 years, they will not be around. So the root cause of everything, in my opinion, is money. It's all about money. That's what this shit is about, right? I think the NBA is the first major sport on the chopping block to where they have to really address what it is they're selling and then how to make it competitive, because right now it's not competitive. I don't care what anyone says. It's not fun to watch. NBA is not fun to watch. I'll say it. But look, I do play DraftKings, like DraftKings to me is like a human form of, it's like human slot machines, essentially. You pick your players and you hope the players play so you can get some money, right? Everything's about money, It's kind of like, I feel like the NBA is kind of like in a identity crisis mode, like they don't really know what they are right now, right? They think they're about, they think they're about, a legendary past, and they think they're about this, and it just seems like they think they're, long story short, the NBA is about money, right? That's what this shit is about. Everything comes back to money, right? They don't want to say it. I feel like they're afraid to admit it, but it's about money. The NBA is about money. It's like that old song by the Dramatics. Do what you want, be what you are. I can't hit that note like they hit it, but be what you are, right? The NBA needs to be what it is, right? It's based on, everything is about money. And the sooner they look themselves in the eye and say, look, we about money, we're not about this NBA care bullshit or whatever shit they be trying to do, I think that they can restructure themselves in a way to where they can be successful for more than 10 years. But if they don't fix what they're doing right now, they're not going to be around in 10 years. Mark my word. So everything's about money. So with the contracts that these players get and with the money, and look, I'm not trying to hate. So if any NBA players are watching, I'm not trying to pocket watch your shit. Look, I just don't really watch it no more like that, right? Like I used to, let me say this right quick, right? I used to make it a point to always go home to catch a Wizards game because I grew up in the Maryland, D.C. area. I was born in Buffalo, raised in the Maryland, D.C. area, right? A lot of people act weird when they find out I'm a Bills fan and a Wizards fan. They're like, yo, how are you a Bills fan? Oh, I was born in Buffalo and my folks are from Buffalo, right? And then I basically spent like 1/3 of the year in Buffalo when I was growing up. But, my folks moved to Maryland, so I became a Wizards fan, over time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Wizards fan, and a Bills fan. But I'll make it a point to go to a Wizards game over the holiday break. I'll break my neck to get to these games, buy tickets or whatever. And then I live in LA now, so whenever the Wizards would play the Lakers or the Clippers, I would get tickets to go to that game, I haven't done none of that shit in the past, like since the pandemic. Like after the pandemic, everything's done. Like I haven't like, and I don't. And with the way the NBA is, like I don't really care to. You know, my mom is a huge NBA fan. You know, she grew up a Buffalo Braves fan, and her teams, or she doesn't. She doesn't really have teams. She just likes players, right? So her favorite player, probably of all time, is Michael Jordan, like me. And then she became she was a Jimmy Butler fan for a long time. Then when Kawhi came along, she was a Kawhi Leonard fan. You know, and then for her birthday one year, the Raptors were playing the Wizards. And I remember I bought her a ticket for her birthday and it was a decent ticket. It wasn't a courtside seat, but it was like a low level seat. I bought her a seat to go watch, you know, the Wizards and the Raptors because she was a big Kawhi Leonard fan then. So with the new NBA, you got this load management stuff and GTD if you play fantasy sports, right? Which is game time decision. So Kawhi was at the time, I was like following my DraftKings lineups or whatever, and it said he was GTD, which is game time decision. I'm like, yeah, he probably not gonna play, but I don't want to say nothing. Then at the last minute, they were like, yeah, nah, he not playing. And my mom's at the game, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna hear my mom mouth. She gonna call my phone complaining about this game, and I spent all this money to get her down low to watch, you know, Kawhi play. And then when they said he was out, I just knew it was a matter of time. You know, I just knew my mom was gonna call my phone, and she called me on the phone talking about where Kawhi at? How come he not warming up? He's still in his street clothes. I'm like, yeah, ma, he not playing. What you mean he not playing? What you mean he not playing? I'm like, ma, you gotta talk to him about that. So, long story short, you know, you got people that are fans of players, and if you buy a ticket to go to a game and you spend all that money to go to a game, it's like you might not even see your favorite player play. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point? You know what I mean? So, anyways, the NBA right now, as I said before, is about money, right? And yeah, I think to them, winning the finals is like cute and all, but I don't think they really want it the way they did, like the players wanted it back in the day, you know? Because look, when these players are getting paid all this money and they getting these contracts, once you make it to the NBA, you won. Making it to the NBA nowadays is the finals. Let me say that again. Once you make it to the NBA, once you get drafted to play in the NBA, you've made it. Like once you got drafted to make it to the NBA is the finals. Making it to the NBA is the finals. Right? So yeah, so it's just, you know, like over time, of course I play DraftKings because I'm trying to get this money. You know what I mean? But I don't really be watching it like that. It's just not fun to watch like anymore, you know? Even the announcers, right? The people that call the games. Look, I used to have NBA League Pass. I cut that off a long time ago. I don't mess with that. But I don't even mess with League Pass no more, man, because you know, they have it to where they have multiple streams of the game, multiple feeds of the game, so you can watch the game if like if you're if you're a fan of the away team, you can tune into the away broadcast where your hometown announcers are calling the game, or if you're a fan of the home team, your hometown announcers will call the game. And they just sound like when you listen to announcers call the game when you're watching it, it just sounds like they just sound like fans. Like people be getting smacked all in the face, and then when the ref calls a foul, oh, that's not a foul, that's not a foul. I'm like, dude, bro, like be biased. Like they need to find biased people that know what they talking about when it comes to basketball, man. Because with football, the one thing the NFL figured out is when you're watching the game, you're listening to people that used to play the game, and they're telling you what the defense is trying to do. They're telling you what the offense is trying to do or what they should be trying to do. and they're at least talking some kind of strategy about, hey, this is how they need to win this game. When you watch NBA broadcasts on NBA League Pass, they just sound like fans rooting for their team. So a lot of times I had to cut it on mute. You know, a lot of times I just want to hear. Long story short, when I had NBA League Pass, I'd watch it, but then it got to the point to where I would watch it on mute. And now with all the game time decision and load management and all that shit, I just like, man, nah, I'm good. Look, I haven't had League Pass for about 3 years now. This is the first weekend I didn't watch NBA All-Star Weekend at all. Like I normally tune into like the All-Star game, or at least I tune into the 3-point contest or the dunk contest, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And according to what I saw on YouTube, I didn't miss anything. You know? So here's what the NBA needs to do, in my opinion, if they want to be successful. I'm not saying they have to do this exactly, but from a loose systematic standpoint, top down, bird's eye view, this is what I think they need to do if they want to survive or be around in 10 years. Because the way things are going, it's like I can easily see the NBA getting phased out in 10 years. Like that bubble's getting ready to pop. You know? First thing they need to do, in my opinion, is they need to get when it comes to the draft and the lottery system and all that, get rid of the lottery system. That's a waste of time. I think that, number one, I have very low confidence in the NBA draft lottery system. I think it's fixed, you know, because there's no way the Spurs should have gotten David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Wembanyama. Like that's not fun to watch, man. You know, like they need to get rid of the lottery system and just say, look, if you got the worst record in the league, you pick first. Make it simple, right? Because they had this thing in June when they do the draft lottery in May, and then who cares? You know, just get to the draft. Worst record, draft first. Just simplify that. You know, because then what will happen is you'll have teams like the Wizards that can actually have a chance at getting, you know, a good player, right? Like the best player we drafted, like first round, probably first overall, is John Wall, right? That was our best pick, and that's pretty much our only pick. And you got to spread it around so teams can be balanced, right? If you're not going to do that, then you don't need all them teams in the NBA. Just chop away like a third of the NBA, so that way when people want to go stack on different teams, they can stack, but it's still going to be competitive, right? That's one thing they got to do, right? So one thing is get rid of the NBA draft lottery system. Worst record, picks first. Second thing they need to do, or not in any order, but just, you know, they need to basically restructure, and the collective bargaining, like the NBA Players Union and all that collective bargaining shit, they all need to come together. And this is something that is like viable for the long term of the NBA. What they need to do is they need to say, look, whoever says it, what needs to happen is they need to have the players be salaried year round. And when they're salaried year round, the way it should work is every player gets the median of the average salary of that specific state, right? So for example, if you live in LA or if you play for the Lakers, your median salary should be whatever the median salary is of the average person, right? That's just standard year round, right? Like we're not talking, like that should be the base for everybody, you know, just that should be the base salary, right? And then what needs to happen is each game needs to be incentivized, right? Make these guys play for money. That's how you make it competitive, because the league is about money. I didn't invent the rules. I didn't make things the way they are, but the NBA is about money. And what's happening is you have a lot of these players that are playing on contracts that are based off potential, and then they kind of milk it. They kind of say, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna play when I want to play. I'll play in the beginning. I'll get out there and I'll bust a little sweat, but then my back hurt. And then they'll play that back hurt stuff and then they'll still get their money. It's like, no, make it incentivized so other people that want to compete can actually go compete. Make them compete for money. It's real simple, right? So then, in addition to that, what they need to do is, there needs to be in addition to just the base salary, then you need to get like an incentive if you dress for the game, right? So if you put it, if you put on the jersey and you sit on, even if you're gonna sit the bench, if you put the jersey on, there's an incentive for you being in uniform, right? Because seeing your favorite players in street clothes when you done spent $200 just to get to the game, and then you got to buy food and buy stuff to sit in the seats, or you might buy NBA League Pass or whatever it is to watch your player in street clothes, man, it's very just demoralizing, like, to the image. Like, it's like being a fan. Like, it's just very, like, I don't care to watch that. Like, if you can't suit up, stay home. There's no need to be at the game. You know what I mean? What else, man? And here's where I knew the NBA was in trouble. I knew the NBA was in trouble when they started expanding the playoffs. Like, what's the point in expanding the playoffs, right? Like, if you expand the playoffs, that means that teams aren't being competitive as they should be all along. Like, what's the point? Like, if you keep expanding the playoffs, then basically you're saying, okay, well, you don't have to play hard in the regular season, but now here's where the real season starts. It's like, no, just shorten up the playoffs so people really got to fight to get in that joint. What else? What else should happen, right? So per game, right? This is what should happen per game, right? So the reason I was saying that they should kind of have a base salary for every player year round, that basically guarantees that the player can live where they're living and they know that they're making what the average person makes. That way they know what the average person is making, right? Like, if they know, oh crap, I got this mansion or I got this house and I'm only making like 70,000 a year, I got to get my ass up and go hoop so I can get this money so I can pay for the rest of my house, So, like, that basically makes it so they know what the average fan goes through. So when they look at ticket prices, they're like, oh, people only making $50,000 a year and they're coming out paying $500. It's like, oh, I got to get my ass to work. So in addition to that, what should happen, like, per game, right? The way it should work per game, and the owners got to, like, stop being greedy, right? Because I'm not putting it all on the players. Also, the owners got to give something up too if they want to have long-term viability in this sports market. What the owners need to do, or the way the game should work, is whoever wins the game gets 2/3 of the profit of what is available, right? So for example, if you if you're in a bigger market, or if you're in a, like, let's say that you're in a bigger market, and let's say that you're in a bigger market, there's going to be more money to pull from because you're on that team. So if you say the winner of this game gets 2/3 of the pot, or whatever the pot is, that means that there is an incentive for the team to win, right? Loser gets 1/3 of the pot. Then you start breaking it down from there. Okay, so from the 2/3 pot, then you start breaking it down in terms of, okay, who started, right? Then boom, have everything be like a formula, like, we got technology, we got DraftKings, you can tell what players got which stats. There's no reason why back in the day that would have been hard to do that, but now with all this technology, all this AI, all this computing, there's no reason to say, okay, if a player is on a winning team, or if the winning team gets 2/3 of the pot, and then based off that pot, it gets broken down into who had the most points. Okay, boom, we pay this amount for, and then if they want to even do that, they can then the owners can even make contracts based off of, okay, well, if like I value points, so if I value points, then it's going to be a certain percentage of the 2/3 pot or of this pot, if you value triple doubles, just have it worked out to where all that stuff is figured out. And I know it's complicated to think about it, but from a theoretical standpoint, what I'm trying to say from a high level is, make these dudes play for money, right? Like if making it to the NBA should not be the NBA finals. Like if these players get guaranteed money, there's no incentive to play. Like why are they playing? Like no one, like we've seen lack of competition over time. It's like they're not gonna magically just start doing it. Like no one's gonna have a magical powwow meeting to get people to want to compete, right? So the way to do it is you control it through the money. It's fair, everyone has opportunity to get at that pot. So that's kind of a high level idea of what I have. Just make every game. So instead of getting game checks based upon what your contract was, your initial contract just covers your base salary for the season or for the whole year. But then when you look at incentives, you got to incentivize players to want to play. Now, if they did that, there would be no more load management. Players would be like, yo, hey, I got to get my ass out there and I got to go hoop. If they want to if they're so worried about load management, then shorten up the season, but it's like having fans come out to pay for a product where people ain't even competing, man, that shit is boring. Who who got time for that? You know what I mean? Like these players say they love the game, but they don't really love the game. They love the money. I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these players in the league, what they'll do, like they want to make it to the NBA, in my opinion, for like what it looks like. I'm not saying what it is, but what it looks like is they want to make it to the league so they can get the millions just to wear street clothes in front of the hoes on the court, right? Now look, I'm not saying all women are hoes, but there'll be hoes at the game. Trust me, there'll be hoes at the game. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? And these players, like, they want to wear all the fancy fashion stuff, and there's no incentive to make them want to get on the court to want to out hoop somebody. So to me, it's like base salary year round, because right now they get game checks during the season, but they need to have a base salary year round and then make every game like every game is like they make them play for money. Just if they want the money, go get it. Then in addition to that, what they should do, in my opinion, is they should just be like, you know what, we're not doing All-Star Weekend for 10 years. Right? Like, hey, like they should be like, look, man, see you in 2036. They should advertise for NBA All-Star Game 2036. Just don't even waste time or money doing that. Right? Just hold off on it. And then a portion of the money from all the games that they make needs to go into a pot for All-Star Weekend in 2036. And then in 2036, it'll be this big event. And then once it builds up, like once you build up that big of an event, what can happen is then you can generate more resources and more money to come in. And then now when players make the team, do the same thing they did in the regular season, like have incentives. Whoever wins gets 2/3 of the pot of the money that was made for All-Star Weekend. And then loser gets 1/3 of the pot. And then you got to go divide up the 1/3 pot amongst the losers, right? Have money allocated for the dunk contest. So basically it's like there should be people that want to, how they pick for the dunk contest, like you should be eligible for it, but they should have like that trophy and stuff. Like, man, that, like, it's cute. Like they should still have the trophies and everything, but it's about that money, man. You got to put the dollars out there. You got to show players what they playing for, man. Like make them want to get up off the couch to go and dunk. Make them want to come up with some new shit. So I'm not saying they got to do, well, personally, I didn't give a good step-by-step, this is how you do it, right? But I gave kind of bullet points as to far as like what they need to do in order to ensure the long-term viability of the NBA. Because like I said, if they keep, like the fact that you have to go, and this is no shade to Matt McClung, you know, it's dope that, you know, he is a good dunker, but it's like the fact that they had to go to the G League to pull him up to go be in the dunk contest, like that's sad. You know, like all the all-stars, like the major players that are in the league, they should all want to take part in that. But I think a lot of it is like ego. Like a lot of players don't want to say that another player is better than them at something, you know? But I don't know. That's just my opinion on it, right? Like those are just some of my high level bullet points on what the NBA needs to do to at least get my interest back into it. Because right now I don't watch it. All I do is I play DraftKings. I look at the numbers, I look at the data, and I make my picks, and I try to win $1 here, $2 there, $3 here. Right? It's about the money. It's about money now. Right? So if the NBA can't look themselves in the mirror, if Adam Silver can't look himself in the mirror and say, look, the NBA is purely about money right now. It's about money. If he can't be honest with himself, then the NBA is done. But if he can say, you know what, this is about money, players don't care about no in-season tournament, fans don't care about no rinky-dink, raggedy in-season tournament. Like he keeps trying these little tricks to make players want to play. Nah, make them play for money. Every game you can walk away with this. If that's the case, motherfuckers gonna hoop. And then people gonna tune in because they getting their best, you know? So what are your thoughts? Am I just talking crazy? Put it in the comments. Let me know. You know, I want to hear what your thoughts are. You know, do you think today's NBA is better than the NBA of the 80s and 90s? Put that in the comment. I want to hear what your thoughts are. You know, was the NBA of the late 80s, early 90s more competitive than the NBA now? Why or why not? I want to just put it in the comments, man. You're not going to offend me. You know, you're not going to offend me at all. Just give your feedback. I want to, and maybe this can be another episode to where we can talk about and have a bigger discussion on things. But with all that being said, you know, AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. So make sure you follow me. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. So without further ado, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theo Bowl.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bowl.
Tripping with Theo Bowl.